There's at least 50 billion planets in the Milky Way, at least 500 million in the habitable zone.
There's gotta be somebody else with more advanced technology than us or should be able to reach us. And we should get their signals, but we haven't. It's kind of crazy.
So you're telling me that some dude with a wooden cart managed to bring like stones the size of houses up to like the top of some pyramid and built it that way?
I think it's more likely than random aliens coming down and helping you build a pyramid.
Welcome to episode 7 of Flipside, the podcast where we bring you lighthearted, good-natured debates about a variety of interesting topics, ranging from politics to social and cultural issues. We make a genuine effort to explore all sides of each issue, and the goal is always to find common ground instead of just scoring points against each other. This is Carson.
This is Spree.
And this is Julian.
Today, we will be asking the question, are there aliens out there in the universe? If so, why haven't we seen any? Or maybe aliens have already visited us in the past or are observing us right now. If we do finally make contact with the aliens, what does that mean for us?
And speaking of aliens, Hussein might have gotten abducted. I don't know. Well, he's not here anymore. And going into the future, just a little disclaimer, this summer it's going to be a little harder for us to get together. So we might release a few episodes, just me and Carson, but I think it'll be a little bit before the four of us are back together. So just putting it out there.
Arthur C. Clarke says, 2 possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe or we are not. Both are equally terrifying.
Okay.
So my question is for you guys, of the 2 options, which one is more terrifying for you?
Honestly, I think if there are other forms of life, it's more terrifying. I don't really mind us being the only life form in the universe.
Maybe not now, but for me, being alone, much more scary.
Yeah?
Yeah, for reasons we will talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
I would say, being alone would definitely be pretty lame, but I think it's also a lot safer for us.
So, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Might be a worthy
wiped out by alien
sacrifice.
form.
Okay. So, let's talk about, do aliens exist? And in this section, we'll just make the best argument for aliens existing. And then the next section, we'll talk about some of the counter arguments. So
okay.
The main argument, obviously, is that everyone's heard before. There are so many stars in the galaxy. There's at least 50 billion planets in the Milky Way, at least 500 million in the habitable zone, and the Milky Way is 100,000 light years across. There's just so many stars. All these have planets. These are conservative estimates that I just gave. So on all those planets, so many of them must have life, right?
That's what we hoping for, I guess.
Yeah.
But what's it called? I think recently we've gotten more information with the new satellites and stuff that they just keep finding habitable planets everywhere. So I think that's what gets us thinking, like, it can't be just us here. There's got to be something, right? Some microbe or some life form of an alien anywhere, but I don't know.
Yeah, one of the stats I have also is that there's over 5,000 confirmed exoplanets. So those are planets that are in like the Goldilocks zone that they think could hold water and some of the other essential elements for life.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is the age of the galaxy, or the age of the universe, since they appeared in relatively the same time. The age of the universe is 13.7 billion years. The age of the Earth is 4.5 billion years. That's like such a massively long time. If you think about that, just increases the odds so much that there's life out there because it's such an ancient universe, and the Earth came into existence like relatively late in the grand history of things. So
we're relatively very new. Humans in general are relatively very new. So I think when we think about it from that perspective, like 13.7 billion years and we're the only ones, that does seem odd. feel like there's probably going to be something else.
So one counter argument, lots of people, I don't know what the exact stat is these days, maybe like 50% of people in America will say believe in some sort of intelligent designer or some sort of God. For this argument, it doesn't even need to be like Christianity, for example, just any sort of intelligent creator. And that could be a counter argument for this. Like people always say, the odds are just so insurmountable that we're not alone, that there's life because there's so many planets, there has to be life on them. But if we were designed by a godlike figure and he chose exactly
Just us.
where to put us and like everything was intentional, then it could just be us very
Right,
reasonably.
right. I mean, but what's to say he doesn't have other planets with life form that he chose? It's just
I mean,
us?
we can't say that, right? So, I mean, I looked into it a little bit in Christianity. There's lots of Christians that do believe there could, if we discovered aliens, that wouldn't say anything about Christianity. So it's not like they're two different ideas. It's kind of interesting if you look into it more. Like there are questions like if Jesus rose from the dead and saved all the Christians on Earth, does that mean the aliens are saved at the same time? And did they have a similar visitation?
I think it's important to keep in mind, though, that a lot of these religions are based on the fact that like we have a special connection with whatever God exists, right? So, I mean, you would think that the existence of aliens would kind of trample on those orthodox beliefs.
We're not as special, but
yeah, exactly.
At the same time, we say God can love everyone equally, all humans equally, and that doesn't diminish his love for the individual. So you could say the same about aliens. So it's an interesting perspective, but we probably won't bring that in for the rest of the video. So, and it's just more generally, I would call it like anthropocentrism, thinking humans are special out of the entire universe and everything's centered on humans. And as we've done more science and learned more about history, we realize like we're not actually the center of the universe. We might be in a...
What if I want to think that, I'm the best?
Nothing's stopping you, Pri. I'm just saying.
the only one that
Nothing's
matters.
stopping you, yeah.
Okay, all
You're
right.
the center of your little sphere there.
We're the only ones
Bro lives
here.
in a bubble.
Humans are the best. Nobody else matters,
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so next, guys, we're going to talk about a little thing called the Fermi Paradox. Now, we just gave a lot of stats, kind of spit them all at you about how many planets there are, how many exoplanets. But, like, if the chances are that big, if there's so many options, why haven't we seen anything yet? And that is a concept called the Fermi Paradox. It dates back to, the 40s, right? And it's a question we've been asking ever since. Now, with technology kind of coming into play, we've been trying to see if there's, advancements of technology will allow us to see if we can receive or send messages. But the further we get, the more we realize that there's not anything that we've no definitive evidence, right?
Yeah.
So what do you guys think about that?
I just think maybe we're not there with the tech. I think we'll discuss that in one of the stuff, but I just think we're not there yet.
Oh, okay, so you think there are aliens out there, but we're not able to receive those signals.
Exactly. Or send enough. Maybe they're too advanced, we're too not,
Well, I mean, you would think that given the age, and you said humans were relatively new, which is true. Yeah. So you would think that most alien species would be older than us, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of potential solutions to this that we'll go into. I guess I'll flesh out the definition a little bit more. And like you said, it is I feel like there's a lot of excitement about aliens a couple decades ago. And then we started setting up all these broadcasting and listening devices. And even though our radio signals travel at the speed of light, they've only gone 100 light years, which is nothing in the scheme of the galaxy. But we should still be able to hear incoming signals from the aliens. And it's just been silence. So that's maybe put a little bit of doubt in people's mind. The other thing is, so people might think right away, yes, but space is really big, and why would they even care about Earth? Stuff like that. How would we expect to even see the aliens? Why would they be broadcasting at us?
Maybe they just don't care.
So one point is, it would only take about 100 million years for an intelligent civilization to colonize the entire galaxy, basically. With current technology for propulsion, or maybe slightly better, not assuming faster than light travel or anything, not even 50% speed of light, maybe 10% speed of light. It would only take 100 million years, which is a a ton
It
of...
looks a lot, but in the grand scheme, it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Since the galaxy is...
13.7 billion.
Right. So surely it's so ancient, they've had plenty of time to colonize the entire system.
Yeah.
So we should see some signs. They should be like right here on Earth right now. And if not them, then maybe they're at least probes, or there's a concept called like grabby aliens where they could build self-replicating probes. And that's one way to colonize the whole galaxy very easily. And we can maybe do that in a couple centuries. Very easily, is just build self-replicating probes that go out to all the solar systems and gather materials and build more of themselves and continue searching. So
wait, what's stopping us from being like seated here? You know what I mean? Like, what if we're the colonizers from another planet? Imagine, it's like that initial life on Earth was put here from another planet. What if we're the aliens?
Intentionally or randomly?
Well, intentionally, I would hope. I mean, by some other alien species that's trying to survive. What if there's other humans out there? What? That's crazy.
Well, but why don't we see them out there?
Yeah, but that's
a good question.
That's the whole question, right?
Yeah.
Like, where are they? Like,
I don't know. I guess we rode that meteor out of the dying galaxy or whatever, and
it's
ended
just
up
us
here.
left.
Yeah, exactly. We're like the escape pod, kind of.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So to kind of outline this more clearly, maybe the ways that we would expect to see them, first of all, is just like they're here on Earth already because it's such a nice place and they should have colonized every single planet by now. But other than like direct contact, if they're within like a certain light year radius of us, we should be able to hear their signals. Or I did read that we have the technology now to send radio signals. If they're directed at a certain target, then they could reach and be received on the other end of the galaxy without the signal decaying or anything. So if aliens were like aiming radio signals at us, then
we can send something back.
See it, or we should be able to receive it and then send it back. Although it would take thousands of years.
Yeah, man, by the time it gets there, they're gone. Well, we'd be dead, but they probably would be too.
So we have physical contact, radio, and then there's also the concept of Dyson spheres, which is this theory that as a civilization becomes more advanced, then they're going to start using more energy and eventually be able to capture all the energy from their star. So it would be like, as we get more advanced, we end up building an entire sphere around our sun to capture all of its energy in the highest efficiency possible.
Mm-hmm.
Solar panel ball, kind of sick.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, but there's so many stars out there, and we expect so many civilizations that have been around for millions of years before us. If you think about the technological progress in the past 200 years, think about millions, they should have been able to build these Dyson spheres, and we can actually detect these relatively easily by like looking at the stars and looking at their infrared signatures, and we don't see any evidence.
Yeah, that's what makes this whole thing argument like kind of fall apart, that there are aliens, because like you said, you know, there's got to be somebody else with more advanced technology than us, and or should be able to reach us, and we should get their signals, but we haven't. It's kind of crazy.
You also have to consider the fact that whatever light we're seeing now originated like millions or hundreds of thousands at least years ago, right? Because light takes a certain amount of time to get from point A to point B. So I mean, what if like the star we're looking at now, that star is in the past technically, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, what if now it's like there's something there, but we just can't see it because we're stuck in the past?
That is true. And you also have to keep in mind like how big, even though you're going at light speed, the galaxy and the observable universe is just so incomprehensibly vast that it takes hundreds of thousands of years.
But it's just the whole scale of thing, you know, with 13.7 billion years. I'd expect like if somebody, let's say they started in the beginning, they've had 13.7 billion years to get to us. And they still haven't.
And the span of the galaxy is only 100,000 light years. Yeah. So
yeah, I guess that's a good point. But I mean, not the.
So are we concluding that there's no aliens already?
No, we're not concluding that. We have several different subpoints
making the argument.
Okay.
As best we can right now. Okay. So yeah, this does kind of go against. There's something called the Mediocrity Principle, which says Earth-like environments are necessarily common just because we're here right now, and the odds of us being here right now, if they were indeed so rare, if that's the explanation for why there aren't aliens, that life is so rare, which we'll get into. But based on the fact that we're here right now, that should be enough evidence that it's common throughout the galaxy.
Yeah, like we only observe it because it already happened, kind of thing.
Yeah, like we know it happened once.
Yeah.
So
There's
odds
gotta
are, and we don't want to assume that we're like that special, that it wouldn't happen out of trillions of planets. That's kind of
true.
Crazy.
Yeah.
The hardest step is always the first, for sure.
Yeah.
But then there's the anthropic.
Maybe but that's the thing though. Maybe if you do believe like, the God exists or something, and then there's one God, maybe like he created all the living beings at the same time. So all of us are at the same,
that
point of time.
Be an interesting
honestly, all these theories
thing.
go out the window if you're saying God exists, because he can do
Whatever he
pleases.
wants. Right. That's true.
So there's also the anthropic principle, which is kind of the opposite, which says that no assertion can be made about the probability of intelligent life based on a sample size of 1. And it does kind of seem like a fallacy to be like, because we're here right now, that means it's got to be common throughout all of the galaxy.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, if you look at our sample average, it's pretty much 0, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah.
So
1.
well, 1 including us, but if we look at what we can observe right now in current technology,
nothing.
yeah, exactly. So that quickly goes to 0.
Yeah.
So
And it's kind of a survivorship bias where
100%. Yeah.
We're only here to question if we're special because the odds worked out in our favor. So we wouldn't exist to be able to like contemplate the other sides of it, basically. So even if the odds are like inconceivably small that we're here right now, we would never know because we are here.
That's true.
It's like survivorship bias is if like you become a billionaire, you're like, oh, well, I survived, and so it must be easy for everyone else.
Okay, right.
Or more commonly, you're like looking at all the billionaires and you're like, they all went to Ivy League schools or something. But you're not looking at all the people that you don't know about that also went to Ivy League schools because they didn't survive.
They didn't become billionaires.
Or the billionaires that didn't go to Ivy League schools but are lesser known, for instance.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
What's next?
I mean, well, so technology, our limitations of technology is one limitation we have.
Okay.
A possible explanation for this is a concept known as great filters, right?
Yeah.
So what are these?
I think it's basically the idea that there's a barrier to development, I think.
No, that's exactly what it is. So basically, the idea of this is there's like kind of milestones, I guess, that each civilization like reaches. And I mean, an example of these could be like a nuclear war or like some massive extinction event, like an asteroid hitting the planet, right?
Yeah.
That, potentially could wipe out civilizations once they get to a certain point. And I guess that could either be like natural disasters, you can't control that. Nuclear war, self-inflicted, right? But these are all things that could destroy civilizations. And an argument that we have is if we can't see any of these, aliens around, that just could mean that their civilizations were wiped out and that we could be next.
So you're saying in the scale of the development, they reach a point where just something happens crazy.
Yeah, it could be. Or it could just be like something just happens randomly that makes them never develop,
continue their development of reaching out. So just before that happens, they're just gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. That's I don't know if it 100% makes sense, but it's a possible solution.
Well, it's just a way to think about like all these variables that exist in the universe. I mean, how could
anything can happen?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it can happen to several civilizations.
It's about trying to explain if we are the only civilization here on Earth, then if we are the only intelligent civilization in our galaxy, then why could that be? How could it be so rare? And
yeah, exactly.
So there's the concept of early filters and late filters, and the early ones would be stuff that we've already passed, like maybe a habitable Earth is actually a lot more rare than we think, or maybe life is just so rare to develop. And then the late filters, we can go in more depth later. But I want to start with what y'all think about Earth, like if you start thinking about is it possible that a habitable planet for life is actually a lot more rare than we think?
I mean, yeah, we've been trying for decades to find another habitable planet, and we haven't been able to find like a situation that has every single thing, possibly that can help us survive. Like even water. Did we even 100% find it in Mars? I'm not sure.
I mean, there's traces of water. That's the interesting thing, actually. It used
ice,
yeah, but
we don't have like the 100 where we can be like, yeah, let's just walk down into the atmosphere and just breathe normally, or like.
I mean, no, that's true.
But we only looked at stuff here.
We've only looked at our solar system, basically, because these planets are so far away. I don't even know how they tell. I don't know the details of how they understand like the composition of them at all.
Probably robots or something.
We just don't know. Like we said earlier, they found 5,000 like exoplanets, so they think there's a possibility that they could be habitable.
We just haven't explored them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you could also think of it as like, even if there is a planet that's as habitable as Earth, I mean, like the presence of water, like you said, is a very strong indicator, right? But Mars had technically an atmosphere and water at one point, and conditions changed. So what's stopping a planet that's like right before it's about life is starting to develop, like microbes and stuff like that, the conditions change and render it uninhabitable.
Yeah, but also the other thing is, if we itself have found something close to us that's somewhat kind of inhabitable, there should be definitely something that's better out there.
I mean, my point is that even if a planet is in the habitable zone and it has like habitable conditions for life right now, those aren't constant. They change.
Right. No, 100%.
If we find that like there was life at one point on Mars, then that just changes everything the whole equation, because now we have a sample size of 2, and it's literally our closest neighbor. So that should make it seem like it's crazy common. But
what if it's a virus and it just wipes us out
on Mars? And imagine that though, it's trapped in the ice, waiting to be like
we go
discovered,
find it and then just get infected.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, that would be kind of interesting. But I mean, if you think about it, a virus, no, because viruses only survive with other host organisms, right? So that would just that would mean that there is a larger like ecosystem of things. Because I mean, like whenever life starts, there's always like the producers at first, right? Yeah. And then there's a secondary development where things start eating other things. Like that didn't just happen overnight, right? Yeah. That takes a long period of time for like that chain, the food chain, to kind of develop. Mm-hmm. So if viruses exist, that tells us a lot more about just bacteria.
That's true. Yeah.
So a couple things that people mention when talking about the conditions on Earth that you don't normally think about. It's not just having like water or oxygen in the atmosphere, or like being the right size and the right distance from the sun. There's all that, but it could also be stuff like having Jupiter and a large moon to absorb asteroid impacts with their gravitational pulls before they can hit Earth, and having a magnetosphere and certain plate tectonics, and then the chemistry of the lithosphere and the exact chemistry of the atmosphere. And oceans, the acidity of the oceans, all this stuff, like we have no idea how rare the conditions are that promote the development of life, which is the next point for a great filter that we've already overcome, is rare life. So imagine we have a perfectly habitable planet that looks exactly like Earth against all odds, whatever they may be. Now we have to develop life on that planet. So there's this concept called abiogenesis, which is the evolution of a life form from inorganic substances. And to me, that just seems like inconceivably rare and impossible. Like if you're a biologist, you can give your perspective on this. But
me?
Yeah, you're studying
biologist in training.
Information on this yet, but
no, I know, but like just the complexity of even the first single cellular organism, like doesn't that mean you have to, these like just random proteins floating around, they have to form up into DNA and they have to be able to read themselves. Right. Like you have to build a language system. I've heard this argument. You have a language system that's coming out of randomness and it's able to read it and develop proteins and like regulate itself, and then out of just random
it needs to keep differentiating the
molecules
cells
floating around, and that
yeah.
just somehow occurs spontaneously. That seems
Yeah,
incredible, but
yeah, I can agree with you, but it has happened here. It's happened on Earth, so I think that's where the argument comes to. Like, it is kind of crazy, and we think like, how can it happen? But it happened here. You know, that's a possibility. It's happened somewhere else.
I mean, that's true. I think this also kind of like, I mean, I know we said we wouldn't mention it again, but like going back to the religious perspective, like this is part of the reason that backs it up, I guess, like why people are so confident in that is we've never been able to like replicate life, like even like creating bacteria like
in a lab or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
True.
So that just shows that like, I mean, if you are religious and you believe that a God created life, then that would make sense. And I guess like you were like, or like Carson was saying, actually, I mean, how do we take that first step? Like, how does it just happen? You know,
maybe one day we'll start creating something and then that will prove it.
All right, the day we start creating something, we're going to be like,
that's going to be the end of us.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what's a little single cellular bacteria going to do? But,
well, COVID happens.
Yeah, that would obviously be a big deal if we could figure out how to replicate that process. But maybe the thing is, billions of years are just so inconceivable to the human mind. Like, yes, it's so rare, but if all these chemical interactions are happening constantly, and like if you think about how many molecules are in like a single drop of water, and that's happening everywhere for literally billions of years, I've got to put this into perspective. If we scale the history of Earth down to a single 24-hour day, then the modern human has only existed for 1 second out of that 24-hour day. So that just puts into perspective how long the Earth really has been around based on
that's kind of crazy,
what scientists have estimated.
1 second in a 24-hour day?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, this is enough about like, I mean, bacteria and stuff like that. But I mean, okay, we think bacteria itself is already going to be hard enough, right? But at what point does bacteria become intelligent, right?
Yeah, I mean, that goes into the next thing about rare intelligence, right?
So, yeah, and even before then, you have rare complexity, which is first you start with your prokaryote single cell bacteria.
Yeah.
Then you have eukaryotes where they develop a nucleus that stores the DNA and blah, blah, blah. It's more complex, obviously. And then you develop multicellular organisms where these cells are actually like interacting together and forming a complete system. So I have the timeline there. Life was expected to have begun 3.8 billion years ago. Eukaryotic cells 2 billion years ago. Multicellular organisms 1.6 billion years ago. Mm-hmm. So all these steps are taking like
billions and
did I hear you right? That was like
millions of years.
Millions of years. So it took 1 million years for bacteria to develop a nucleus, is what you're saying?
Well, actually, that one was 1.8 billion years from life expected to begin to eukaryotic cells. And I'm not sure how confident scientists are on these predictions since we're talking about billions of years ago. But yeah, it is pretty crazy. Obviously, very rare steps.
So 1/10 of the universe. That's basically how long the universe has been. So it's pretty recent.
Oh yeah, all this is super recent.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, once we develop that life, if you think about all the species on Earth, how many species are
intelligent,
building telescopes and
just us, baby,
blasting into outer space?
It's just
and
us.
Sending radio waves into space.
Yeah, I mean that's basically it's just us. Nobody else is us.
We don't know how
you're
rare.
Getting an ego boost from being the only species that can like
I am getting an ego boost.
That's crazy.
Let's go, man.
So how rare do you think that quality is?
Wait, so you're saying that once life starts, the fact like that we're gonna get an intelligent life form that can do these things is like bound to happen?
I think it's a possibility, right? Like, yes,
it's obviously a possibility.
Yeah, like here we're the only ones, but maybe in a different I don't know, environment or landscape, the possibility of higher intelligent life forms, the percentage of it is higher. It could depend on the environment.
Yeah,
that is true. Actually,
maybe that environment, makes it faster, or I don't know, something's different. It's got to be, right?
I mean, there was one thing I One thing I was reading about biology, like the curious thing is whenever there's a harsher environment, it produces more change.
Yeah.
So
Usual stuff.
yeah.
For me, the intelligence is probably a lot more common or a lot more reasonable for that to appear than all the early filters for like developing life. But if you think about it, evolution doesn't like put any pressure specifically on intelligence. Like the bacteria or the fish are doing just fine, and they have a much higher population than us, which is all evolution cares about is reproduction. So in what case, I mean, and we invested a lot of work into our brain over evolutionary periods, I feel like. So in what scenario, what were the circumstances where that created the evolutionary conditions to continue to evolve those traits and develop them compared to focusing like I'm
So you're saying maybe in the other environments there's not a necessity for intelligent life.
Yeah, it's so much easier to just be a fish and mass reproduce than invest all this energy that we're using for our brain.
I mean, that's true. I think for the case of humans specifically, like humans only started like showing a lot of these like walking on two legs, being like more community focused whenever there was like the ice age and then food availability went down. That's what I was talking about. Like harsh environments produces change. So when our climate changed, humans became...
It forces us to adapt.
Yeah, exactly. That forced us to change, become like, more hunters than gatherers, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, one of the downsides of intelligence is that the nature of intelligent beings may just always be to destroy themselves.
So that is true.
Such pessimistic viewpoint.
We've never.
No,
now let's move on to the late filters. Is what I'm saying. Is that
Okay.
why we've never seen aliens? Because they've destroyed themselves before. They've.
I mean, like when he was saying, like maybe they got to a point where there was unresolvable conflict, nuclear war or something.
Yeah, when technology becomes so powerful, it can destroy yourselves.
That's what a very rare, real possibility for us right now.
Yeah,
so.
we've been worried about that for like decades. Like, we slowed down the arms race. We've tried to stop making nuclear weapons, and
I mean,
we're very worried about that.
Nuclear weapons are only one way. I mean, imagine we like weaponize viruses or something and instantly wipe out
bioengineering.
Yeah, exactly. Which is probably even scarier because if you think about like, I mean, okay, it takes a country to build a nuke. It takes like a few people in a lab to make a virus, right?
100%.
Anyone can make a virus. Anyone can weaponize it.
That's what happened with.
Then or there could be a natural virus or a natural meteorite or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, late filters aren't just self-induced, right? Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I feel like with all these, it's like we keep saying that that's the possibility that happens, but there is the possibility that that's not the case, but we're not seeing any evidence.
Well, yeah, but so there's two options then, right? Either one, there's life out there, which means that either we've passed the great filters to join those other life, right? Or like that the filters are still ahead to come, but they aren't like dangerous enough.
Yeah, exactly. Filter that we don't know about that's ahead of us.
Yeah, exactly. But they're like, it's rare enough where other civilizations have survived this long as well, right?
Okay, right.
The other option is that we're alone. So either the filters are more common than we thought, and that it's going to kill us soon, or that we're the only people who have passed it because it's that common.
Okay.
Say like the asteroids that killed the dinosaurs. What if we're the only species that like survived that?
Enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So there's the concept of the Drake equation, which is basically just
Drake got an equation.
Damn, is that like the new album he dropped or something?
I'm fairly certain this was a different Drake.
Damn.
Unless he's been theorizing about the existence of aliens in the universe.
Probably. It's a little speculative, but okay.
Practicing astronomy.
Okay, what's the equation though?
It's just the idea of multiplying all these probabilities up, and he's got a bunch of variables that he picked out, and then like you can experiment with putting our best estimates in there, or like tweaking them to see how the final result changes. So it's stuff like multiply the probability of the number of civilizations in the Milky Way galaxy times the number of stars times the fraction of those stars that have planets, and then the fraction that could potentially support life, and then the fraction that could develop intelligent life, and then the fraction of intelligent life that develops radio signals or blah blah.
I think it basically replicates us though, right? Like they try to put our conditions.
There's a couple of variations of them. It's just the idea of multiplying these probabilities. But the thing I wanted to point out is like assume you have a 1 out of 1,000 odds for each of these filters. You start with 1 billion and then divide that by 1,000 and you're at 1 million, and then divide that by 1,000 and you're at 1,000, and then divide that by 1,000 and you're at 1.
Okay.
So very quickly, I'm assuming that math is right. Very quickly, the math, even though we've got 1 billion potential planets, once you go by like 4 great filters, the way the math works out, it's not actually a big enough number potentially. So
Yeah.
Okay.
That's another good point too, actually. I mean, there's just so many variables, and that's like variables we know about. Imagine how many we don't know about.
But it's also assuming it's 1 out of 1,000 instead of like 1 out of 10, or 1 out of 100 is,
Or 1 out of 1 million, if it's in the case of like something.
We just don't know. There's so much we have no idea about the probabilities.
We're just not smart enough, man. There's nothing we can do about it. We're too dumb.
Says the smartest creature in the universe, according to now. So
Okay.
All right. So one of the late filters is AI.
One of the ones we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
And that people are getting increasingly worried about these days.
I mean, yeah, with the rise of ChatGPT.
Rise. I'm sorry, Rise.
Yes, it is the rise of ChatGPT. AI.
It hasn't risen too far.
Well,
ChatGPT is an equation. It is not AI.
Okay, you know what I mean.
Well, I want to do another
interesting.
episode on if AI will actually take over and kill us all. But, I mean, there's a pretty real possibility that could happen. I think.
Yeah. Okay, say 100, 200 years in the future? Or are we thinking even more short term?
I mean, it could be
shorter in
closer. But
Oh, wow.
a counter to this is, okay, but the AI could just be the next evolution. You can think of it as the next evolution of the human species. And why don't we see the AI colonizing the galaxy? Like, it's the same problem,
So
you know?
annoying. There's no answers at all.
Yeah. No,
We're just surrounded by theories and not a single factual evidence of anything.
Well, you would think that once AI starts, it reproduces a lot faster. than
Faster,
people.
right? Yeah.
Or it could have no intentions of colonizing planets
doesn't
because it doesn't share the same evolutionary subconscious mind that we've developed that drives us towards that direction or something.
Yeah.
So that's another solution, is that maybe these aliens, maybe it's unique that we're so set on like spreading ourselves everywhere throughout the galaxy. But I don't think that's that rare.
I think that kind of goes in with the next theory that we're talking about, right? The dark forest theory. Like, basically, it's a concept by, I think, Leo 6. I don't know if I'm saying the name right.
Okay.
The 3-body problem. So basically, it's like suggesting that civilizations choose to remain silent and hidden to avoid detection of each other, potentially against hostile civilizations.
And what reason would they have to stay so silent?
I mean, they're just afraid. Aren't we afraid?
Of what?
I want to
Julian?
clarify that the 3-body problem is a novel, and that was an idea
fiction,
from the novel. Like, it wasn't.
Oh yeah, not a.
That
It's
was
not an actual thing.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but it means something different.
Okay.
Yeah, just how you introduced it. Okay, but anyway, yeah. So, I guess you could think about it. It's like a game theory problem, or it's like a sequential move game, if you want to be super technical about it. But it basically just means that you have 3 options. Either you can kill another species that you know about, you can tell people that you're there, or you can do nothing. Right? And if the goal is to survive, what are you going to do?
Shoot first.
Well, yeah, shoot
all right,
first.
this is a pretty like creepy theory to think about.
Yeah.
What if you chose the most boring way to explain it with game theory? What if
The economist.
Let's do the other one.
What if we've already sealed our fate by broadcasting all these signals out? Like, what are we doing? We're alerting everyone to our presence. Do we really want to do that? What if there is a civilization out there and it's just going around, and any signs of life, it immediately wipes them out because they don't want to be contested for like supreme ruler of the galaxy?
I mean, maybe it's too late for us. We've already sent out these signals. They're already on the way, and then they'll be here in like hundreds of millions of years, and this is the death of us.
Oh, I'm sure your great grandchildren can worry about that, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
honestly.
yeah, let's not worry about us. Is that a potential solution, like, for the other civilizations out there? Maybe you can think about all the lights they pop up and then immediately just disappear.
Disappear?
Wait, disappeared because they got killed or
Yes.
because they turned it off?
Well, I guess they go
Maybe
together.
both.
But judging by we immediately sent signals out, maybe it's more common that they are getting immediately wiped out in a couple centuries versus hiding. But it could be either for this theory.
Yeah, maybe they get our signal and they're like super worried about
Dummies. Why are they broadcasting
Yeah.
us?
it, and then they're like they don't want to talk to us or something.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're just too worried to make contact.
We're like I don't know, we're like pretending we're super weak and all that, but the moment we receive something, we send nukes to this galaxy to preemptive strike them.
Yeah, it could happen because I mean, like in her novel, basically, it's like imagine you're in a forest, right? And then the first thing you see is I don't know, some ghost or something. The first thing you're gonna do is shoot. You're not gonna wait there and be like, oh yeah, let's see what it is. Hi, what are you doing, ghost? No, you're gonna be afraid and you're gonna shoot. I
Well,
think-
it's a safer option for you to assume
Exactly.
the worst of any new
yeah, 'cause,
encounters, but
like we've talked
Okay.
about it, like everybody is just selfish. They want their own life to be more valuable than others, and respectfully so. It's what's gonna happen. They're not gonna care more about keeping the other people alive. You know, when you're in a situation where you gotta preserve your, I don't know, generation or something. I think that's where.
well,
that
they
comes
wouldn't
down
have
to.
survived up to the top of their planetary food chain without caring about their own survival.
Exactly.
So we
Right.
can assume that much. But one of the counter arguments to this is why haven't we been destroyed yet then? Like their Earth should have been detected as bearing life billions of years ago, millions of years ago. That's ample time for them to send their nukes. And like they can tell it's perfectly habitable, so they probably should have checked it out a while ago. Or
Maybe they have. Maybe they were good enough. They came and checked us out. They were like, "Yeah, these guys are chill. You don't need to harm them."
okay.
And they just left.
But all the other
And left.
civilizations,
and then they just left. Or maybe they've incorporated themselves as humans.
I mean, Mark Zuckerberg is a person. Well, person. I don't know.
Person.
Is he an
He's
alien?
an alien. Could be, man. He could be one of the ones.
the last thing that's actually decently convincing, what if
Okay.
there's something called the zoo hypothesis?
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
We're just being set up as a observatory or like a zoo for the aliens or a nature preserve where the aliens definitely know about us, but they're purposely hiding themselves from us and using whatever technology they have that we're not even aware of. And that's why we can't see anything, because they want to give us space to develop on our own and see what happens, either for entertainment purposes or because they genuinely don't want to interfere.
I mean, that is a possibility. I mean, everything is a possibility, which is what the
Right.
problem is. We can't figure out which one it is, but I feel like everything just shows the possibility that there's nothing there, even though we want to believe it.
Well, but this one is a
It's
solution.
just saying that, okay,
So you start seeing possibilities for theories that make it more rare for us to be here and less likely for aliens to exist. But there's also theories that make it
right.
solve the Fermi paradox. So
I mean, I think we could maybe this one is more likely. The zoo hypothesis is more likely than believing that there's nothing there.
I mean, you could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, would it really be possible for them to hide themselves that well? Like any sort of technology based on the laws of thermodynamics emits heat, and we should be able to see infrared signatures. And
I don't know. Maybe they've created something. I understand it's fiction, but we've seen it in movies. Maybe somehow they've been able to find the software to just not software, the stuff to technology to completely mask themselves, or maybe send signals that mask thermal radio stuff or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know stuff. I guess we've got to hope that that's the case, or I don't know.
Would you hope that you're a little test subject?
Test subject?
I mean, would you live your life differently knowing that you were a little microbe in a beaker?
Yeah, I'd probably kill myself.
Oh, okay.
We gotta cut that. But yeah, I mean,
So maybe we've got this all wrong. Maybe there are plenty of signs that aliens exist because they're right here with us or have been here in the past, so we can talk about those theories.
Hmm.
Have aliens been here anytime in the past? And based on what we've been saying this whole episode, it should be like we would actually maybe expect aliens to have visited us before. So
Sorry, hear me out. Pyramids.
Okay, what about pyramids?
Okay, so you're telling me that some dude with a wooden cart managed to bring like stones the size of houses up to like the top of some pyramid and built it that way? I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy to think about back then.
I think it's more likely than random aliens coming out and helping you build a pyramid.
Well, I mean,
Humans
imagine like
are
a
crazy.
pickup truck. You know what I mean? It's like you can fly the materials to the top and just place it.
UFO helps out with that?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe those are the gods that they were worshiping back then.
So you're telling me they traveled thousands of light years here to
Just
meet
to
with
help
us, and then they just stacked rocks on top of each other
Yeah,
and then left?
that's exactly right. Stonehenge, same thing.
The aliens really like their rock formations.
They do.
Maybe
They do.
it's a sign. That's the sign.
That's just no.
The Stonehenge, the pyramids.
I mean, there's a reason why they're aligned to the stars. One pyramid for each home planet.
That's true. That's
And where
actually
did they go after they built the pyramids?
I mean,
They just
I
left.
don't know. Maybe
They don't like us
they
enough
took a
after
trip or
that?
something. I guess
They got bored with us.
maybe.
They completed their mission of building the
Then
pyramids.
they built the pyramids in Mexico.
They showed us the way.
Every pyramid is built by them.
Yeah.
They just love
They
pyramids.
just like pyramids. That's it.
I don't know. Maybe they're pyramid shaped. They're walking triangles.
And why did they build them out of rocks instead of some super complex metal alloy that they used to travel all the way over here?
Maybe they deemed us not worthy enough for that. These guys only deserve
Yeah,
rocks.
these guys aren't ready yet.
Well, okay, so there's lots of people see the pyramids, and there's, I guess, genuinely interesting questions about how they built them. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of questions to ask too. Like, I don't know where the burden of proof is. I would say it's on the people saying that aliens built it instead of the humans.
Right,
so
exactly.
they've got to explain some of these things that don't really logically make sense. But on the other hand, how could we ever know what these aliens are thinking? But I mean, it's just whatever you think
I
is
just
more reasonable logically.
Find it more reasonable that we did it ourselves. Like
I mean,
maybe it took a super long time to do it, but
there's definitely explanations for how
right, it doesn't look improbable.
we got to give the humans some credit. Like, we're smart people,
Yeah,
hardworking people.
We're not completely useless, Julian.
I
I'm
think
not saying that. I'm just
we
saying
can
that.
stack rocks
Right.
and
So can aliens.
They're probably better at it than us.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay. So that's a theory. It's possible.
No, I'm just kidding though. No, but it is kind of interesting seeing how so many people believe theories like that. I mean, like you said, it's not like there's any evidence or anything, and quite the contrary, we have some idea of how they were able to do these things. So
I think we're just bored in our lives, man.
I think so too.
Create some excitement, believe in something, you know?
Well, so
Just
can
like
we
God.
discredit every like aliens visiting Earth, ancient world
ancient
and stuff,
alien
and,
theories.
and like History Channel type stuff, or are we like?
Yeah, we can go into that. There's a couple.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, do you have any that's actually plausible?
Besides pyramids, yeah.
Okay.
So, given that we haven't been able to like prove any of these things, and I mean, let's be honest, everything that we see regarding that is on History Channel anyway. Like
We
After
haven't
Dark.
seen any evidence of them being here in the past.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what about?
Have we seen evidence of them being here now?
Oh, that's a good question. Mark
Hmm.
Zuckerberg. I don't know.
He's
the
the
way
only
he
one
drinks
that you
water,
know.
bro. Like
That's enough. That's enough.
That's what throws it off,
Bro's
the
a
way he
wizard.
drinks
Oh
water.
my god.
No, but I think a more latest development in this could be like the Roswell incident. It's probably the most famous one that I can think of.
Yeah. That is.
I have never heard of that. So
You've never heard of that?
Oh,
Okay.
well, I
Pri,
have
give us
now,
the
but-
rundown, please.
So basically, in the summer of 1947, it was like the dawn of the Cold War, and the U.S. Army Air Forces sent out a press release saying that they discovered a flying disc from a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico.
Okay, wait, hold on. Just before that, they were launching like balloons with microphones on them in order to like detect bomb blasts, but
Okay.
basically a balloon went down and they found the flying disc in the wreckage of that balloon. Okay, keep going.
I was gonna come later, but we
It-
will-
What? Bro,
In
you
the-
said that at the beginning.
in the wreckage,
In the wreckage of a balloon, they found the saucer. But go.
are you
Okay.
sure it wasn't they
They
just
just
found
found
a
the disc.
saucer and people say they just found a balloon, or they've merged together those
Yeah, I think it
theories.
was they sent out a release saying they found the disc, but later on people
They
were
changed
saying
their
it's
mind, and
yeah.
or they
No, they
told the
retracted
public
it.
that they found a balloon.
I'm pretty
No,
sure.
they covered it up by saying that it was a weather balloon, not a military balloon.
Oh,
And then they said they
okay,
found a
okay.
disc originally, and then they retracted that statement and didn't say there was a disc.
Okay.
Anyway, someone found a disc, and then what
They
happened?
did find the disc. I mean, basically what's it called? Okay, well, we kind of just
Well, it started a whole frenzy, and people were like, "Oh my God, Area 51, Hangar 18!" Like
Because they took it to Area 51.
right?
Yeah,
Is that the origin of the whole Area 51 thing?
It's like
I think
one of
that's the
the
biggest one.
yeah, one of the beginning. I mean, after the Roswell incident, apparently they took like alien corpses that they found at the site to like the hangar and all that, and I don't know. It
I
just
just turned a different.
it was one of the biggest like I guess headline events that sparked a whole media craze with aliens in the US.
Mhm.
And what can you tell me about the evidence for this? Why?
None.
There's none.
Really?
I hope. I was looking at it. I was like, "What is there?"
It's all based on testimony.
It's
really.
just what people say. Like
It's all based on
first they
testimony.
said that there was a saucer, and then they said that it was just weather balloons. Just
balloons,
keep-
not bones, bro.
I said balloons.
I heard bones.
Okay, but either way, it's just they keep changing their narrative, and
But that's because they're trying to cover it up.
maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I'm just saying, how long can you keep things hidden? Like, there's got to be a time where, like, there was what's it called? The person who was overseeing the stuff, Major Jesse Marshall, intelligence officer. The dude he's one of the ones that do believe in it. I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Like-
how many people have came out of this lab saying that there's aliens there? Because, I mean, that itself could be evidence if you have enough
True.
testimonies.
But I don't know. Maybe they're just afraid for their lives or something. They're just not coming out and saying it. The government wants to keep it quiet.
This
Well,
was
no, I'm
long
saying,
enough
like,
where they're like,
There's enough people saying that they've
Oh, there's
seen it.
enough people. Yeah, but they're not able to
but-
corroborate the evidence. We can't just go with testimonial like stuff that they're saying. You know, we haven't seen any hard evidence.
This is long enough ago where the government would technically be like forced to give any information about it. Like in terms of classified information. I mean, you look at it now and you see like recordings of UFOs from fighter jets, right? And they've been forced to declassify that. I feel like, I mean, if you're going to talk about,
Well,
I mean,
but
feel
that's
like
because that isn't good enough evidence, maybe.
No, well, exactly,
All right, let's ask the question, why would the government keep this secret then?
Not to create a frenzy, panic. I feel like although some of us are like maybe it'll be fun to have aliens. I think the major population of the Earth would be terrified.
What
about
would we
it.
do if we found out today that there's unequivocal evidence that they had an alien in Area 51?
I think people
Would we go into a panic?
I think we would. I think
but would that suggest that there's aliens among us, not just in Area 51?
exactly. Like people would start bringing theories like this in, and they would just go crazy about it.
Oh, modern day witch hunt.
Maybe
What if
Julian's
Carson or
and-
Julian is?
I think him more than me, bro. I'm just
I
like,
got ahead of you there. Julian
you
is,
did.
it's Julian.
It's Julian. He said it first. Maybe it's you. You're the alien.
hey, what I do?
He keeps deflecting it into Mark Zuckerberg. but
I know.
Maybe it's him.
Okay.
How'd you know?
But interesting.
But I mean, I think like it's
I mean,
definitely
wouldn't
gonna
the
cause
government rather us know that our friends are aliens besides just keeping it a secret for decades?
frenzy. No, I think they'd rather keep it a secret. Honestly, they would just want us to find out ourselves at some
Okay.
point.
And then there's a question, maybe in the 60s, sure, whatever, but now everyone has cell phones and like you can't keep a
Exactly. Yeah.
secret anywhere. How come no one's like taken a cell phone into the lab and snapped a picture and leaked it?
It's not that it's just too hard, Carson.
They have
There's so many
such strict
processes.
security
secret.
measures.
Like I can't just take my iPhone and be like, yeah, let me click a pic, and they let me go out right
If
after
you
that.
sneak it in and do it discreetly, hidden camera on your lab coat. I don't
Oh, right. They definitely wouldn't think that
something. I mean, it's a big enough deal. It's got to get leaked out, right?
Yeah, you would think that, but there's so much stuff we don't know about the government that they've kept hidden, and then we found out like
yeah, there were
hundreds and
military
hundreds of-
documents leaked on Discord a few months
Oh
ago.
yeah.
Like,
I forgot about that, man.
yeah, so I don't
That's
know
what
if the
it is.
government is
We
like
can't
too
even
good
keep
at
our
stopping these all
most
the time.
closely guarded military
It just goes on
strategies.
Discord.
Okay. Well, so let's move on to
Yeah. Okay.
personal abduction experiences.
But I have one more though. So there was like this signal that was sent out in 1977 while he was working on the search for external terrestrial project in Big Ear radio telescope in the Ohio State University. So basically they got a signal. It was from non-terrestrial and non-solar system origin. It lasted like 72 seconds apparently. Not too long, but it's the full duration that the person, Dr. Jerry E., I don't know how to say that last name, Amen, saw it in August 15th. So basically, they got that one source of signal and they never got it ever again. And that's why people haven't been able to prove it. Why is it not back again? Do you guys think like...
Yeah, okay. I was actually thinking as you were saying it, like, okay, we have this instance, maybe we're wrong about not hearing signals from space. Maybe we actually have gotten a signal.
Maybe we
I mean, this is the only singular
right.
example of a non-terrestrial, non-natural radio signal, I guess.
Yeah.
That's why everyone always talks about it. But I guess the question is, why just send it once? Like, obviously, you want to be repeating sending it.
Yeah, I mean, they tried several attempts to detect it again, and they were never able to. I don't know.
Yeah, you just point your receiver straight at that planet for decades, and then...
Nothing ever happens?
Yeah, so I think it was a fluke sensor malfunction or whatever. Okay. So now, as we were talking about testimonies with the Area 51 stuff, there's also testimonies of lots of people saying that they have experiences being abducted by these aliens or seeing UFOs or like very weird things. There's like so many of them.
I mean, one of the ones was...
And they're all saying like relatively similar things.
They have been saying that.
Once you have enough testimony of people, like, are they all lying? Are they all just trying to be famous? Are they all hallucinating? Like, what the heck could be the explanation?
It's hard to figure it out because as I was looking at these, experiences that people talk about, every time it's like the bright light and then these gray beings or something.
The grays,
it's always grays. The grays. I see it everywhere.
I mean, it could...
So maybe they are gray.
I mean, yeah, but you also have to consider the fact that, like, if this is the kind of like image of aliens that we're always shown in media and stuff like that, then your brain's just automatically going to process it that way.
Yeah, the role of Hollywood and the media, like, just we all have a shared idea of what aliens are now. So,
well, yeah,
like for example, like there was this encounter in Zimbabwe. Like children this time, apparently said that they reported seeing, aged between 6 to 12, small beings with large heads and big oval-shaped eyes. Do you guys remember where we heard this from? The media. So do you guys think that the kids, they just saw something and they just put it towards the media and combined it? And
I don't know what they saw, but I'm guessing it wasn't aliens.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't know, maybe like a weird gorilla or something.
Weird girl?
Gorilla.
Oh, gorilla.
Gorilla.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I don't know what other creature like has big eyes.
Gorilla.
Okay.
I mean, it's very weird. So like there's people saying like, I did watch a History Channel episode and there's this woman that it swears she was abducted and they performed reproductive experiments on her.
I did see that one.
And that's the like theory that the Greys are like trying to produce hybrids of them and alien species. And
so did it not work?
They're like abducting people for that purposes. But it did work. She got abducted several times later, and one of the times she saw a hybrid of her daughter and the aliens in the spaceship. Yes,
that's what she's saying. Okay.
So, and she just knew it was her daughter, I guess. But like, it's so crazy. Like, I believe she actually believes it. But like, first of all, people have been saying crazy things for a long time in all these cases.
Maybe she's right though.
Okay, let me just prove it first.
Okay, disprove it first.
Yeah. So the
crazy.
Okay, and it always starts with it always involves hypnosis. Like they have a memory lapse. I mean, it makes sense that the aliens would remove their memory, and then they go to hypnotist
and revealing it,
to like unlock the buried memories in their subconscious, and that just seems super shady right off the bat. Like the hypnotist is probably like implanting the memories himself. I mean, I don't know.
But do you think that's possible on like these multiple occasions? Like the funny part is, like you said, there's so many similarities between these occasions. Every single one is like they get abducted or something happens, the memory gets cleared, and then the only way they can remember stuff is through hypnosis. Like it just feels.
I mean,
that sounds a little shady to me. I'm not gonna lie.
But what if that's the way it is though? Like the only way to recover the memories is through hypnosis, and that's what's been going on.
I mean, I'm not gonna rule out anything as being completely impossible. It's just what you think is the most reasonable explanation. And like I said, people have been saying crazy stuff for centuries. I mean, 50% of Americans say they've had a religious or mystical experience. True. And then 20% of people say they have personally experienced a ghost. So does that mean ghosts are real? Does that mean, I mean, not all the religious things can all be true at once. So some people, and also people were burning women at the stake for centuries because they thought they were witches. Like,
yeah,
there's just this mass hysteria and contagion of the ideas that happens, and then people are just crazy sometimes. There's drugs. There's the hypnotist.
I think a lot of scientists say that it's just like sleep paralysis, deception, and
carbon monoxide.
Exactly.
Like apparitions in your like visual cortex. It's just
the point is, with the technology that we have, if something like this has happened,
drugs.
Yeah, exactly. There has to be like one instance where there's hard physical, like a proper image or something. Like nothing ever happens with that.
Okay, let's talk about.
There's a reason why people like are still obsessed with stuff from like the 60s. I mean, there wasn't video cameras to prove everything.
Right, that's true. But
and now that we've had high resolution images, and there's
all of a sudden
it never happens ever again.
So let's talk about UFO sightings.
Okay.
If the Greys are here, then also maybe we should have seen their UFOs. Maybe we have. There's been thousands of UFO sightings in the past, like. Probably since the 1960s when this whole craze started. So the aliens have apparently been here for decades, and they're just buzzing around all over the sky, but they always are just black smudges.
Oh, they're too fast.
That's how they cloak themselves.
I don't know. It just seems like every single time, they can drop 100 feet up super high and then drop back down. They can go super quick underwater, like multiple different stuff.
And none of the commercial airlines, the thousands that travel throughout the skies, ever see them. It's got to be like fuzzy Navy footage.
You know what it
they
is?
only visit the aircraft carriers.
Yeah, maybe the flight that disappeared was abducted by aliens or some shit. Like
the flight that disappeared
from Malaysia. Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's just
no
aliens
way.
were the ones that took it away. What? That's not a possibility?
I think they found wreckage of that in the ocean, actually. So,
my bad.
So the principal evidence of UFOs right now that everyone talks about is recently released. I think it was like 2016, 2017. I thought it was more recent, but maybe I just lost track of time.
Okay.
It's possible. But anyway, there's 3 videos that were recently declassified by the government, and they're from the Navy, and they have like voiceovers from the pilots that are like, they definitely seem super excited and unsure about what they're seeing. And they show one of them, the most convincing one, is like titled or known as the gimbal video, and it shows a black smudge basically, but it's in a flying saucer shape, and he's like, that's going at 120 miles per hour against the wind, and you can see it like spinning in ways that defy the laws of physics.
When was this?
And like people normally would assume the Navy footage or fighter pilots are a more credible source, obviously. And there might be a reason why they had it classified for decades. So,
what
do you think about those? Have you seen the videos?
I don't remember it. Maybe I have, but like when were the videos taken? In 2016 or like way before?
Earlier, 2000s,
way earlier.
I think. No, it's still 2000s.
Oh, it's still in 2000s.
I
Okay.
believe
That's
so.
relatively recent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is the what's it called? What is people saying that's disproving that? Like, are they saying that it's like, I don't know, some other countries?
Well, people always say like it could be
China,
a foreign weapon or that we don't know about, foreign technology that is able to do these things. It could be our own technology. Like there's so much isolation between departments.
right? I mean, I feel like that's the easier way to take the route. Like it's got to be something some technology that I don't know,
we
some
keep
other
saying it's
country-
more reasonable to assume that they're that it's not aliens, but we also said the odds are they should have visited us by now. So I think, but the only evidence being these blurry videos is, I guess, what makes you think it's more reasonable to assume it's something else.
Yeah, I try to, get myself down with these theories and,
Do you want to believe in it? Do you think alien? Are you like
wanting to believe?
Are you one of those people? I mean, there's lots of people that are like really hoping that there's aliens.
Aliens?
They just get so excited about the idea.
I'm honestly genuinely indifferent. Yeah. Like, if there are aliens, good. I just hope they don't kill us.
What if they're abducting people and performing reproductive experiments?
Then it's up to the government to stop them. We've got to do something about it.
Oh my God. Space Force.
Maybe people, they're not like happy that they're here, but they just want people to wake up and like realize that they're kidnapping people and they're like doing all these things to us. I don't know. But anyway, I'm sorry to burst y'all's bubble, although I didn't seem like y'all believed in it as much. But I did see a very well done 20-minute video by this guy debunking it, and he's got like computer simulations using the instrument data from the fighter pilots, and he's like simulating it in a 3D environment using the exact schematics of the sensors on the pilots, on the fighter pilots, fighter planes, fighter jets, and basically it was a infrared glare.
That's what it was?
Much what it was.
Like 100%?
Yeah, based on his video, I mean, it sounds spot on. Like as the
best evidence we've
sensor, like it's far enough away that the pilot has to be looking at the same video that we're looking at on his dashboard or whatever, because it's too far to see it with your eye. And then like how it is moving corresponds exactly with how you would expect like a visual artifact on the lens to behave.
Replicate it, basically.
It replicated it perfectly. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You should check out the video. We'll probably link it. So the other two videos, he also explained those. Basically, when you're a fighter jet flying at whatever miles per hour, that high over an object, there's something called the parallax effect, where because the ground beneath you is moving so fast, it makes it seem like the object below you in the video is moving at like super high speeds, which is one of the videos is like a, once again, black smudge. I mean, this is because it's infrared video. That's why it's black and white. But like a tic-tac shaped object going at super high speeds. The pilot's like, oh, I got a lock on it. But it's basically probably just a weather balloon going at wind speed. And because of the parallax effect, it looks like it's super fast. And then like, the other one is probably just another jet that he's seeing on infrared, and it's not doing anything that breaks the laws of physics. So they all have...
I mean, there's a reason why they declassified this.
I know. So maybe they wouldn't have declassified it if it was convincing evidence.
Exactly. So, yeah, there's not... It's quite disappointing that none of these videos...
And they did a Pentagon study that looked at, like, since the 60s or whatever, all the... it's like an analysis of all the government studies on aliens, or all the investigations on aliens that the government has done, and they basically released an announcement or like the results that say they found no evidence for alien life. So that's to be expected, I think.
Yeah, there's not much to be done.
Especially if they were hiding it from us. Obviously, they would say that.
They would say that, yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't know how much trust people have in the government to say everything that...
That's part of the thing, is that they just don't trust anything the government says, and they think the default is always going to be to hide it from the public, which, I mean, might be true.
I honestly generally do feel like it is true. Like, I don't know 100% if there is aliens and they're hiding it, but in general, I do think that they try to hide stuff for what they think is better for the people, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not ill intent. I just think that maybe they think that's the better approach.
Yeah. I mean, it all just comes down to, one, how much you believe in personal testimony, and then two, how reasonable you think it is. What are the odds that it's an actual spaceship versus an optical illusion or an infrared glare on the lens? So.
Okay, what would happen if we come into contact with aliens? What would we do?
Assuming they're not here right now.
Assuming they're not here.
If
We meet them suddenly one day
Yes.
in space or something.
Okay. I mean, so the most realistic scenario is that we see them from like super long distance
Okay.
with their radio broadcast
Okay.
or the WoW signal or whatever, which already could have been an alien thing and nothing happened. So that's kind of a boring anti-Hollywood
Right.
way, but that's probably the most reasonable. I mean,
So if we do get a signal from the aliens, we get
from a
incoming
distance,
signal.
like light years away, what do we do? I mean,
We send it back. That's what we gonna do, right? Send one back, or are we gonna play into the theories and be like afraid of them and not send it back?
what do you think?
I think we'd
think,
send it.
You think you'd send it?
Yeah.
I think given the massive amount of people on Earth and different countries, somebody's gonna send it.
Somebody's gonna send it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who, but
That
someone's
makes
gonna send
sense.
Well, if they like are able to keep the signal classified and like
Oh.
departmentalized into like the government agency,
it. That's
or
assuming that only one agency actually finds it.
It's so funny. We think of it from like it's only America. That's
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's like a very
Like-
America-centric view, but if you think about like, I mean,
there's China, India. There's
yeah,
so many.
exactly.
Yeah, that's interesting. I always hear about SETI, which is like the
Yeah. The,
for University of SoCal.
Yeah.
They set up the SETI search for extraterrestrial intelligent life.
yeah. That's what I was.
Um, So, but I mean, I'm not sure about
It's just
the other countries must have similar things, right?
No, 100%. I mean, it's just because Hollywood and media. It's just
So
America-centric.
China's gonna try and communicate with them so that they can steal their advanced technology before we get it.
Oh,
100%.
damn, that's a good point right there.
That's what it might be.
That's another that people are like. That's why they get excited about alien encounters, is because we can share technology. They need to steal their advanced.
Just steal it.
They always assume that we're the more primitive ones.
We've got to hope that if some extraterrestrial creature comes upon, we as humans would band together rather than separate ourselves and, create
Instead
alliances.
of the China scenario.
Yeah, like we've got to I feel like in an instance right now, let's say we're just fighting against each other. If there's something that's a higher threat, I think normally we'd band together. I think that makes sense, right?
I feel like that's what humans have historically done, but
Exactly.
just being able to like mobilize, I guess, everyone like that is gonna be hard.
I mean, even like Americans have plenty of their differences,
Right.
but like in World War II, then once we had a common enemy, we all became united. So
Yeah,
it's reasonable to think that
Yeah. That's what we got to hope for. I mean, okay, that's if it's a signal.
from a long distance.
Right. What if there's actually you just see an UFO and it's landing on Earth and it's walking out? What do you do then?
Something's walking out.
Something's walking out. The Greys are walking out.
well, you would never know because the CIA would pick them up, put them in a bag, right?
Just-
It's right in the middle of New York. They
Yeah,
just land
it's just
down
there.
by the Empire State Building.
What would? Oh, first of all, I'd try to take videos of it, but second of all, I'd run the hell away.
Yeah, that's
that sounds plausible.
Wait, so your priority is the video.
Yes. If I
The
die,
second
I die.
priority is your life.
Interesting.
I think at that instant,
There's
would go
plenty
for
of
the video.
people taking videos.
I don't trust them. We've seen this whole time where nobody has actual video proof. I gotta take
If
it upon
they-
myself
he wants to be
do
the
it.
one person that
I
survives
need
the
to do
video
it.
proof.
Okay.
I need to be the one. So maybe I take a quick 1 second, or maybe I'm running and I just point it back and then I still running. I
I
don't know.
think if
So they come to us and they've landed here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's got to be government protocols for this, hopefully, contingency
And
plans.
they're probably gonna get every single military.
I mean, they're gonna no. Look, you
Surround
can't
the
just
alien.
immediately attack them because that's probably like the worst decision because then they're gonna fight back. Obviously,
Yeah.
first you've got to just hope that they're peaceful and try to communicate with them, right?
yeah.
yeah, and then
Be prepared to mount a defense if you can, but there's a good chance we'll stand no chance. So
Do we even think? Yeah, or defense?
give them what they want. I'd say it's like when you're robbed. Like mugged on the street, if they ask for your wallet
You
with
just
holding
give it-
a gun to you, like you're not going to try and fight back. You just give them the
Right.
wallet.
I mean, yeah, it's true. But what if it's like an existential threat? Like they come here for the resources. What do we do?
Well, then we have to do something, obviously.
yeah.
But
We
let
have to
them
try
make the
to-
first move.
Oh, okay.
True.
okay.
True.
Okay, so let's talk about the odds that they would actually want to wipe us out. So maybe if they committed genocide, like if we have a second example of life, obviously, that they're intelligent life that's been able to travel to us, that means that there's probably a bunch of others throughout the galaxy that we somehow didn't see before now. What do you think they would look upon genocide fondly? Like, we don't today. We've organized like the United Nations that obviously tries to keep order in Earth. So maybe there's something like that in the galaxy. Maybe if they attack us, then they'll be attacked by the other nations.
Yeah, we've got to hope for that. Right?
Assume that there's some shared morality.
Or else we're done for. I mean, maybe they have a conscience themselves to, you know, like us, maybe to be like, let's first talk it out instead of, you know, maybe they threaten us first, be like, give us your resources or I'll kill you. I mean, at least we will hope they give us a warning before they do something.
Yeah. The other thing is, keep saying they're going to come for our resources, or that's the most common idea. But there's plenty of uninhabited planets and moons and asteroids and orbital bodies throughout the entire galaxy. There's no reason for them to go through the effort to pick a fight. Or, I mean,
and all those movies about like enslaving humanity. I mean, robots are a lot easier and I mean less costly to operate with, I guess. So that doesn't really seem too plausible either.
So basically, we're useless to aliens. They just wouldn't care about us.
So why would they even communicate us with us in the first place?
But so let's think about what they might want. Our art, culture. They might
reproduction, like you said.
They might want to create hybrid aliens.
Oh my God.
They might just want our knowledge. Like, I mean,
I don't know how much knowledge we have that they would like.
Yeah, but who knows? We could have some information. Maybe our ideas about religion, the origin of the universe. They want to see our perspectives. I mean, there's a reason we study ancient cultures that have much worse technology than we do, obviously, but we're still interested in them. So
yeah, I think in that case, the zoo hypothesis would probably be the most plausible here.
Yeah, and if they wipe us out, they can't get any of that.
Yeah, sociological research maybe.
What if with the zoo hypothesis, it's like we always think about like, what if we're in a simulation? What if it's that like they're controlling us right now?
Yeah. I mean, there's always that possibility.
I mean,
there's also the
what if I'm saying right now is controlled.
One of the solutions to the Fermi Paradox is that the aliens themselves, once they get to a certain level of technology, they put themselves in a simulation. So there's no reason to expand throughout the whole galaxy. So that's pretty difficult. Why not just upload their consciousness to a simulation in a Dyson sphere hundreds of thousands of light years away and stay there the whole time?
That sounds kind of boring.
In a simulation, you can do whatever you want in a simulation.
Yeah, but you're not physically there. Just like a thing. I don't know.
But they might see it differently. But
maybe that's true. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. Let's just hope that whatever species that does end up visiting us, that they have certain limitations and that we would both benefit from sharing technology and culture.
Hopefully, yeah. That's what we gotta hope for.
I think that would be the only thing, because I mean, if they're advanced with us and they don't need anything from us, I think that's when we're kind of like, bye-bye.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Hopefully, like if that's the case, they just leave us alone. And
yeah, we'll see.
What if there's also, okay, so we've covered meet them at a distance. They come to us. What about we go to them in the far future?
Ooh,
either we
we
meet them, or we just find their ruins. I mean, it's not that hard of a problem. If it's just ruins, then we just
research.
Not a problem.
Yeah. Okay, if they're there, if we meet them,
to be honest,
then we might be the more advanced.
Yeah, we would be more advanced.
We would be. I mean, it goes. It's the same way. Like, I'd be worried they'd kill me the second I land there. Honestly, like,
what if are you worried that an ant is gonna kill you when you walk around outside?
No.
So what if you land there?
Small aliens.
No, not.
Oh my
it's
God.
Metaphorical. Like, you see them by that point, thousands of years in the future, like you just have a force field around you. There's nothing they can do to you.
Okay, you're not worried about it.
You can teleport back to your spaceship immediately.
Okay.
You're not worried about it.
I think personally,
you can crush them like a bug.
Okay. I think personally, I would be kind of enthused with, like, I don't know, maybe try to communicate with them. I think that's what I would personally would want to do. Like you said, share, not like try to see if they have any technology that I might like.
What if their planet is really cool and we want to live there?
I mean, I'd rather try to recreate that here in Earth rather than
mutual embassies and freedom of migration, hopefully.
What if they're like, "Ooh, you have cooties, human cooties. We aren't going to allow any immigration to our
share
planet."
with them our freedom, just like we've done as a country.
We'll trade each other's stuff. I don't know.
Does that mean
reproduction stuff? Is that what you
know?
What? Give them a taste of freedom,
yeah,
like eagle sounds, that kind of thing.
Like we did with Hawaii and
Oh, so you think they wouldn't have freedom at that point?
No, I'm just saying we'd invade them, bro.
Oh.
give them a taste of freedom.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like those memes like America, hell yeah. You know?
I feel like there are chances of that happening, yes, but I personally wouldn't do that approach.
I mean
maybe America or
you're not the government,
country,
so
I'm just saying, yeah.
Although pre for president 2026, guys.
Well, maybe we're trying to extrapolate our own morality to the whole society to see what. Oh, what was that?
Aliens! Oh
Someone
my god, they're here!
Outgassing.
They're already here.
No, wait, I see one on the roof over there. What the heck? Oh, there's a flying saucer over there too. Look.
Brother, what's that sound like?
I guess
I just said that we're in a simulation. It's coming for me.
I know we know too much.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
It's over. All right, so now that we've talked about all this, we've covered aliens coming here, why, if aliens exist at all, conspiracy theories. Do we have any changed opinions? I mean, what do we think? Like, are aliens, one, do they exist? And two, have they already made contact with us and we don't even know?
Okay. It's hard to say from all these theories because all of them go both ways. Like, there's theories that support that aliens exist and there's theories that support that they don't. It's hard to choose to believe what it is. Personally, it would be very interesting if aliens do exist because of technology and stuff like that. But I don't too keenly believe that they've already come here or that stuff has happened, because if it did, I feel like it would have been a greater spectacle. That's what I believe. But hopefully there is. Hopefully we'll find something and to either inhabit or get technology from. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so I also don't think that any aliens have made contact with us yet, which means that the Fermi Paradox is still a issue that needs an answer. And I don't think any of them are great. I mean, when you think about, like we discussed in depth, how ancient our galaxy is, how young the Earth is comparatively, we should have alien civilization should have had plenty of time to travel to Earth. So basically the conclusion that makes sense is there's few to no other alien civilizations, at least in our galaxy, which is where it matters. And I think we should go about our lives, or we should make decisions as a society assuming that that is the case, which means suddenly human life and the human species is incredibly special and important, and we need to take great care of it.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that. That makes sense.
I would agree with you. I also, I don't know, unless the pyramids, like we said, but I think other than that, I don't think aliens have been here. I do think that, I don't know, just given the vast amount of possibilities that exist and the limitations of our technology and understanding, I don't think that we know everything, and I think that aliens are out there.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like, I mean, at the very least, they're not at a point where we can detect them with our technology, right? So I think that the most important thing going forward as a species is being, mindful of the fact that there's probably people out there, and maybe, sometime down the road we'll
find something.
Yeah. So Space Force.
And even if it's just us over centuries and centuries, thousands of years, millions of years, like we've been talking about, is the time it takes to colonize the entire galaxy. By then, there might as well be aliens, because humanity, even though we're the origin, they've, over millions of years, will be completely different from each other, and even biologically, from evolution, and also technologically, culturally. So
it'd be good enough to defend.
It would be cool if there were some alien vegetation and habitable planets that we could just walk around on, but at the same time, it's probably safer for us if there isn't, and eventually it'll be the case where there might as well be aliens.
Yeah. It's
interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
Hopefully this gives some perspective to people. I don't know. We've put on all the theories that's out there to an extent.
I wish Hussein was here, because he was
pretty excited.
Yeah, what do you mean you don't believe in aliens? There's so many planets. There's so many stars. There's got to be aliens out there. Which, I mean, maybe if you're talking about the entire universe, but you do have to, once you start thinking like about the Fermi Paradox, that's the main thing, then you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Right.
Maybe it's not so cut and dry.
Yeah.
I do wish he was here. He and you were pretty excited about this topic. And we've
Yeah.
had people request this topic, which is kind of funny. Like in the first post, there were comments like, could you guys please talk about aliens? So I guess
that's a good break from the bad comments on YouTube that we've been getting. But hey,
keep on coming, all right? I can take it.
Oh yeah, he can. Not the rest of us, though. We're gonna cry. So please be nice. Please be gentle. Okay. Anyway, so no, that was really fun. I think hopefully Hussein comes back to us from the aliens by next year.
That's true. Maybe we'll put him under hypnosis and
and I mean, just watch for a fifth guest. There might be a hybrid alien coming out soon.
Probably stole his DNA or something.
Yeah, exactly. There might be a Hussein 2.0 or something like that. You know, like
this is genetically
gray
modified.
Hussein. Yeah, I don't
what
know.
if the alien version of Hussein comes back and we never know?
Oh.
That is true. But yeah, so watch out for differences, guys.
Yeah,
watch the old episode so you can get his personality and get a good read on whether it's an alien or not. Tell us in the comments.
Leave what you guys think about the episode, what we can improve, and we created a TikTok. We were posting clips on there. We have Instagram.
Follow us on Instagram so you know when we post new videos.
Like, leave a comment, subscribe. Thank you guys. Peace.